Hey guys, welcome to another edition of the Retro Buzz. This is episode number 6. Hard to believe we got that far, but we've got with us, we got a lot of news today, so I'm going to get into the introductions here. We've got Mr. Glenn Plumento,
What do you mean
Palomino.
what do you mean number 6? Aren't we still recording from number 5? I didn't know we stopped.
We're recording from number. Oh, because of RGT 85, right?
No, I meant because we went like 30 hours last time. I thought we're still I know
Yeah,
left. I
We
thought we're
should
still in the
marathon.
episode.
we should be on episode 15 by then if you're going by that. We also have with us, we've got Mr. Doug Smith from, you guys know him as COOLTOY.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people actually realize that I'm one and the same. I comment on the Facebook groups and they're like, wait a minute, Cool Toy is Doug? It's like Einhorn is Finkel. It's one of those type of things.
Well, that's
Just
that's that's how it works, right?
Absolutely.
So, guys, I'm sorry, I'm just making an adjustment here right quick, but we're here and we're doing the show here. So we've got some news from AtGames. Let's talk about that first. The 4.0. It seems like every week we've got something to talk about with AtGames, but AtGames on the Legends Ultimate brand new 4.0 software came out. Glenn, we got the Bluetooth. You and Doug have been testing, so I'll let you talk a little bit about the Bluetooth experience on the AtGames with the RetroPie. And is it something that people should do?
actually, you know what? It's a really cool and welcome feature. Again, you could get a lot of games built in, and you can add them with the add games with the USB stick. But it still doesn't beat the experience of a Raspberry Pi when you download an image and you have all the systems in there already. Now the spinner and the trackball don't work yet, which had some problems with yesterday. I had to actually hard reset my machine a couple of times to get the firmware to release whatever's in the RAM and work properly. But as far as joystick games, it's really nice being able to play uh, games that I can't play yet via other means on the cabinet, and it's pretty solid. Again, like everything else we've seen, there's a very small latency, but I don't think for the casual gamer they would even really notice, to be quite honest. But it's really nice, and I do appreciate AtGames constant coming out with these upgrades. What do you think, Doug?
Yeah, I've actually enjoyed it. This is the first one that is actually kind of like the official Bluetooth release. We've had those previous open beta tests before to where, yeah, you got some Bluetooth support, but you had to kind of throw away to the side some of the other new additional features that were coming out per the official releases. So with this new 4.0, you actually don't have to make those sacrifices and you can continue on to tinker and play with your Bluetooth device connections, whether it be a Raspberry Pi, Odroid, PlayStation 4, Xbox, whatever you're trying to hook up via Bluetooth. So I've really enjoyed it so far. Like Glenn said, the little quirks, the trackball and the spinners, they still need to, work out the kinks there, but it's so far so good. And I'm really enjoying it.
What have you tested so far with it? On just for people that are watching, so they can kind of get an idea of what they can run on it. I know you guys both did the Raspberry Pis, but I know Doug, you did a video on the Odroid. What
I
else
did
have you
that.
guys tested with that?
Good, Doug. You want to start?
Yeah, sure. I've done a Odroid XU4, done a Raspberry Pi because I dug one out of a drawer that I still had and it worked fine, obviously. I've got it connected to my PlayStation 4 successfully. I've got it to connect to my Xbox One. Haven't had any luck whatsoever with Nintendo Switch. Tried to connect it to an Amazon Fire Stick. Can't get it to recognize there, but for the most part, those are the main things I've tried thus far.
Mm, I'm gonna have to mess with it. I haven't touched it, to be honest with you. What?
Well,
Glenn dug something out.
yep,
Glenn
yeah.
dug.
Well, I tried connecting it to my Pong. Um, it didn't work, but I got a message out to them to take a look at the firmware to why that's not working. But other than that, obviously a Raspberry Pi, and I played, like Dragon's Lair, which is a game I totally stink at, but it's so nice to look at. So I was running the Daphne emulator on there. I just a PC after that. I used a Windows 7 and a Windows 10 PC. And again, the experience was pretty much the same. The controls are very responsive. Again, the trackball and spinner don't work yet, but for joystick and buttons, it worked very well. And again, it's just what I've said before. It's just nice having the option. Not everyone's going to do this. The setup is not overly complicated, but there are a couple of steps involved, and it's just nice to have that option if you wanted it. I mean, that's really become the jack of all trades right now.
Hmm. I'm gonna have to play around with it. I have a few things that I want to connect to it. Some people have asked me to try to connect my PC because the PC that I have that I'm using their server software seems to work fine. I've got like 2 milliseconds of latency with it, so I really hate to deviate away and just add an HDMI cable, but I might mess around with it. We'll have to see. Anybody in the community, have you guys used the Switch yet with it? Is that
Yeah.
Doug? Have you tried that at
I,
all?
I I've tried and it failed miserably, and that's something I really hope that they can kind of figure out. I assume the Switch has some kind of, I don't know, funky Bluetooth connectivity just because it's associated with Nintendo and they like to do things a little bit differently than everybody else. But I would absolutely love to be able to connect it to a Switch because that has been my kind of console of choice thus far with this current generation, and that's what I've been buying the most current generation games for is my Nintendo Switch. So if I could play a lot of those on an arcade with an arcade joystick and buttons and that kind of layout, I'd be a very happy camper.
So I have to say this. I know we're in the middle of the show, but Broken Quad in the chat room says, "You know, Doug, your camera's driving me nuts because it keeps going in and out with
Oh,
an
is it hunting?
autofocus." Yeah, so
Yeah,
Doug will take care of that really quick while
I
we do that.
will.
So one of the other things, Glenn, we could talk about real quick while he gets that situated is a brand new feature that Bill and PK have announced. It hit our desk this week. One of which is the Taito announcement of having those games put on the AtGames, or I should say the dongles that they're looking to add. So we'll get them on the Legends. What do you think about this announcement?
Well, I definitely like Taito games, and they weren't really specific. So we're assuming that it's going to be on more than just the Ultimate Legends, like the dongles and maybe some other dedicated consoles on the side. But the announcement itself is really kind of cool, especially since there was such a problem in the past with some lawsuits that look like have dissolved or been basically thrown out of court. So it's a really good thing. Space Invaders, obviously, is from Taito. Operation Wolf. I don't know if these games will be coming out, but they have a very good library of games. So it is kind of exciting, and I really do enjoy the Namco dongle, which of course was a lawsuit that they had. But those games were emulated very well on that dongle. So if they could do the same thing with some Taito games, that would be really, really cool. And who knows what else they're going to come out with? Because they did say
Mm-hmm.
multiple platforms they're going to be doing it on.
What about you, Doug? I mean, I'm a big fan of Bubble Bobble. It's not one of my all-time favorite games, like Burger Time or something. What do you think
Or
about
Double
the
Dribble.
announcement? Or yeah,
I, I'm very excited about it. Bubble Bobble, it's one of those games that I enjoy playing, but the thing about Bubble Bobble specifically is I will play it, and then for the entire duration of the rest of the day, I will be humming all the music for Bubble Bobble. It just gets stuck in my head every single time, and that's part of the allure of that game. Personally, is the music and the soundtrack on that one. I just get addicted to it. So if they could have a nice little blast dongle that I can plug into the Legends Ultimate, and I can just sit there and have a little jukebox setup going on, just listening to the music, I'd be really happy there.
that
And
that
actually, I'll say something real quick here. I just
yeah.
noticed that if anyone doesn't know, my local Walmart, not sure if all Walmarts are that way, but the older Blast dongles are going for around $4.95 or $4.88, I think, right now.
Heck of a
So if you
deal.
do have Ultimate Legends, you want to get those other dongles, they're extremely expensive. They come with a controller, so you can play them without the Ultimate Legends. But if you do have one, the machine's set up for all those dongles, and 488 is a pretty good deal for what you get.
That's something I
And
know.
how's
I
that?
got mine
Oh,
for
sorry.
that too. No, you're fine. I paid $4, $5 for them as well.
How's that controller? I've never actually played the ones with the actual controller.
The controller's not bad. It looks like a Sega Genesis style
Mhm.
controller. It's probably very similar if you had any of their other flashbacks as far as the feel. They're adequate. I mean, they're not spectacular, but they get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, it's
They
also $5.
Right.
exactly. So
It's
you can't
$5.
really complain, and I don't. So
Yeah.
it plays well enough. I was enjoying playing. The only other one I have, the blast wise, is of course the Pong one. That's just me. So I actually felt that the Pong paddles and the response and that was excellent. I really had a good time with it. But like I said, I'm going to go by my Walmart probably tomorrow and just pull up all the rest that they have there. Good price.
So you're just
Clear
gonna
them
buy
out.
it?
Yeah.
Wait.
That's it.
So you're just gonna buy them, and what are you gonna do with them? Just put them on your shelf there or something, or what?
Well, that's what I do. I put them in a plastic bag and I put them on my shelf. Doesn't everybody do that? I don't understand the question.
No, not when you already have it. But okay, we'll let that
Glenn
go.
needs an intervention.
So AtGames is really trying to take the bull by the horn, so to speak. They had another huge announcement that they put out today. All this in the first 3 days of the new year. Here we've got the AtGames My Cloud Game Room, which is MGR. And if you saw the post by Bill earlier today, you would have if you read a little bit about it, what this is going to enable us to do. And I'm going to read it right off of the press release. The new MGR option empowers ALU users and owners to play from their own cloud-based PC, where they can install their own game software and store applications. And that even better, the MGR is an online multiplayer ready, so hosts can invite up to 3 of their Arcade1up friends to play game software on their cloud-based PC. It's another great way for you to game on your way with the Legends Ultimate Cabinet. What do you guys think about this? I know we're going to test this in the upcoming days here, so we're going to show like a few of us, and you do have to disable the second player if you're going to do 4 players consecutively over the Arcade1up. Doug, let's start with you this time. What's your take, your initial take after seeing this?
Well, immediately, like the whole multiplayer aspect sounds amazing. The fact that you can all kind of join forces and play some of your favorite games. The cloud PC thing really is helpful. There's a lot of people out there, obviously, that just don't have the powerful PCs to kind of do their own kind of thing. Whether it be bandwidth issues or just money issues or whatever. But the fact that you can rent, for a lack of a better term, or use somebody else's hardware and be able to enjoy these games and enjoy these games with friends is really appealing.
$1 a day, Glenn. Is it worth it?
Well, again, it depends on each
Oh,
individual. I
per
do think it's
hour.
a really
Per
neat
hour. Sorry.
idea per hour.
Per hour.
It's like my son, for example, he plays all these games, but he only plays with his friends pretty much over the computer. So for people who enjoy the older style games or the games available on the Ultimate Legends and other people your age, it's a good way to reach out. Like I can't fly to Ohio or anywhere else to meet with you guys to play one-on-one. So it's a cool way to still watch you kick my butt in the game, which is kind of what you do. But again, it's just a nice option. I'm still not sure if I'm on board with the pricing myself,
Agreed.
but I do think it's a nice feature to have, and maybe they'll offer you buy for a month and get a discount. I do think that overall the pricing on these features, I understand it's specialized servers, and I get all that, but there's other companies that do that as well, and the cost is not that much when you look over
Well,
a monthly fee.
Glenn, let's do this. We have between Facebook and the YouTube chat that we're watching, we have about 150 people watching right now in the community. Guys, why don't we do this? Why don't you put in the chat room right now, because we've got the AtGames folks. They always watch the show. They love the show. Put in there what you think. I mean, let's just be fair. They got to pay for these servers somehow, right?
Right.
If you put it out
Absolutely.
there, these guys have been listening. Put it out there what you think that you would be willing to pay for a month for this type of service that they just announced, the MGR with their Arcade1up. What is something? Put it in the chat room right now on either Facebook or YouTube. And if if PK is not watching currently, he can go back and look at it later. I think that's the best way. I mean, I think if they can get a consensus, right, of what people are willing to pay, it's going to not only help them, but it'll help get the pricing where, I mean, Glenn, wouldn't you say where it needs to be, right?
Right. Again, it's just me personally. I don't play a lot of games online. I don't even have an Xbox 360. I do have a 360. I don't have a one or anything after that. I don't have PS2. That's all I actually have. So I'm not a big online gamer to begin with. So to me personally, it's an expense that I think is a lot. Other people may not think so, but in talking to other people who do have Xbox Live or the PlayStation, it seems substantially more than what they're charging. And I'm not taking anything away from AtGames. They're working hard,
Yes.
and they obviously do have to cover their costs. I mean, nothing is free,
Mm-hmm.
especially if they're giving all these servers up for people to use. But if no one is going to buy it because it's too expensive, those servers are going to sit there dormant anyway. So
Yeah.
I think they need to really just look at the pricing model and the demographic of people buying the Legends and kind of price it accordingly.
So I don't know if you're following it. Doug, are you checking Facebook chat? Because YouTube chat.
Yeah, there's a lot of Facebook chat. We've got people. Steven says $10 to $15 monthly. Mike Chamberlain says $15 per month, like Netflix. Keith says Sony PlayStation, Xbox Live have proven price points. Follow that, which I really kind of align with because they've essentially already done the market research for you. Granted, it's a slightly different service, but overall, it's very similar. And if it's already got a proven track record of an accepted price point for the market, I would think you would start there as opposed to starting somewhere else. Start there and maybe work up or down from there, depending on what services you're offering. But I would start with that 10 to $15
Yeah.
just because that appears to be what's socially acceptable for
Right,
most.
and it's more of a flat fee versus I think the hourly fee is what really gets me more than anything.
Yeah.
Even if it's $1 an hour, I just feel like being charged by the hour for something like that in today's market and the way other companies are doing it, it just doesn't seem right to me personally. But that's just my opinion. Just
Right.
expressing it. That's
But
all.
but it also, you got to take into consideration for tech issues like logging into the game and logging, having the servers kick up. That eats away at your time. YouTube says Broken Quad says, hey, $50 a year. Pdub says $60 a year, which breaks it down to about what the Disney pricing is. What, $6.99 a month. Seems to be the consensus over on YouTube. Some people are saying $29.99 a month. I think that's a little. I would say that's probably a little unrealistic when you think about what servers cost, and I know
Right.
that because of web hosting servers. I know what I pay a month for them, and I'll just say, I pay about $20 a month for my grid hosting. But there again, I'm putting 100 websites on my grid host, so we're talking about a game server hosting. Servers kind of run around the same thing, so I think if they could get it down to $50, $60 a year, I mean, how often are most people, like you said, Glenn, you're of the old school, you don't really play online. Yeah, I gotta say that. But I mean, honestly, we're all grown guys. We all have work. What are we gonna get in? Maybe 2 to 3 hours a week, maybe of online gameplay. If our wives, well, you have a kid, so you fall in the same
Right.
category. But if our families allow it, right? That's the challenge.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be different for everybody, for some people, you're gonna have that $1 fee, and that sounds fine because 'cause they'll play it maybe 4 hours a month, but then you're gonna have other people that are gonna play an 8-hour,
Yeah,
Saturday session and just grind through, and then maybe they wake up Sunday and they continue and do it another 8, 10 hours before they go back to the Monday through Friday work grind. So, everybody's gonna be a little bit different with their needs and their wants, so I think that's where a flat-based pricing is gonna be the best for everybody. And even then, if you're able to offer tier systems, so like a $10, a $20, a $30, just depending on what kind of offerings you're going to get, that's going to be a little more flexible to the larger audience.
I agree with that.
Right. That's what actually gets me too. He made a good point, which is like when I have my cell phone or anything like that, I always buy the unlimited data. Do I always use all that? No, but I like knowing I'm never going to go over and pay a lot of money. If you get a really good game session on, you're only going to play for 3 hours. You end up playing 24 hours. It's only $24, I know, but it's always that in my head that the clock is always ticking. Or like you said, Stephen, like yourself, if the server has an issue or if you get kicked out and you got to start over, the counter's still going.
Yeah.
I definitely think it should be unlimited per month, or at least offer up this price for unlimited versus $1 an hour.
Yeah.
That just gets me. That dollar an hour gets me. I can't even buy a cheeseburger anymore for $1. So it's
It's
just not quite what I'm looking at.
it's funny you should say about a cheeseburger. I think there was a comment in Facebook. I don't know. Doug, did you see that where the guy said he bought a double
Yeah,
cheeseburger meal and he says he's regretting that decision right now.
sorrowfully regret.
Sorry, I know that's kind of off the cuff, but you said about buying a cheeseburger, but
Well played.
yeah. But I think you're right. I think there's a lot of people willing to pay for certain prices. Listen, I'm not asking for free. Servers cost money. I know that more than anybody, doing what I do. And I think everybody in the chat room here, and the consensus is, $50, $60 a year seems to be that sweet spot that has unlimited use cases. And in reality, the more people you got playing using your service, you're going to find out bugs and get bugs fixed quicker because you're going to have more people playing, and it's going to make the product that much better. I don't know. I mean, ultimately they have the last say, right? They're gonna make the call, but it's always nice to have the community kind of put that in there. Let's transition a
Well,
little bit. Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
because
Go ahead.
that's who they're looking. That's who they're looking, to join it. And I just don't see at that price point. And from the feedback we get, I mean, we hear from people all day long. I mean, I know
Yeah.
PK and those guys get emails too, but you two, as well as me, we get messages all day long and night, and the consensus is that they just don't feel that that's a good pricing model. They just don't.
I agree. And it's
Yeah,
a
there's only 2 things in the world that I know are charged hourly, parking meters and prostitutes. You don't wanna be in the same league with either one of those, I don't think so.
yeah, and
Do the coins go in the same spot?
oh,
Not touching that one.
yeah. The consensus is, some of the folks are saying in the chat, the price is outrageous, and Xbox is cheaper than $60 a year when you get a gamer pass for $1 and have to include with renewals in the Xbox Live membership. And I agree. I mean, you're talking about Sony and Xbox and Microsoft. They've got the money that they can lower it. AtGames is a smaller company, not justifying it by any means. I'm just saying that you got to kind of look at where that medium is. But the good news is, maybe this will change. You never know. That's the great thing about a press release. Things can change based on feedback, based on demand, based on everything. So, again, it's always good to kind of, put this stuff out there so we can see what happens. But right now, we're gonna throw it over to our buddy Pdub because he's got some announcement that I know you guys have been kind of on the cliff about when it comes to ToyShock. So take it away, Pdubs.
Thanks, guys, for sending it my way. I do appreciate it. And before we get going here, I just wanted to wish Steven, Douglas, Glenn a very, very happy new year. I hope you guys had a wonderful time with your families. And also to everyone watching in the arcade gaming community, happy new year. Look forward to 2020. Make it the best year ever. And I'm super excited about 2020 because I really feel like the arcade wars have begun. That's right, Pdubs loves hype, and we're hyping it up. I'm super excited about 2020 and all the wonderful new toys that we're going to have available in arcade rooms or lofts once everything comes out. All right, guys, so here's what I can tell you. At ToyShock, at CES 2020, here's what I can share. I definitely want to give you a nugget. I want to give you a teaser, but I also can't get myself in trouble, right? Can't get myself in trouble because I know more than I should. And sometimes I feel like Hagrid and Harry Potter. I shouldn't have told you that. I shouldn't have said that. So I'm going to try not to get myself in trouble here. Here's what I can tell you guys is that at CES 2020 at the ToyShock booth, we will be showing off 4 pinball machines. That's right. We're going to be showing off 4 pinball machines. Now, what they are, what they look like, what games they have, all that kind of stuff, you're going to have to swing by the booth and check them out, and you'll find out for yourself. So we will be showing off 4 different pinball machines. It's really cool that I'll be volunteering. I'm super excited that I'll be working their booth during the show hours from the 7th and through the 10th. So very, very excited about this. Now, also, as you can imagine, all the companies are scrambling. They're trying to put together the best presentations possible. Everyone wants to drop the mic. Everyone wants to make a huge announcement. And ToyShock is no different. Just so you guys know, here's what I can say is they are hoping that if they can meet the deadline in the next couple of days here, that they'll be able to announce 2 new arcade products. I know what they are, and guys, they're awesome. Now, hopefully everything will work out and they'll be able to make those announcements at the show. If not, they will be coming shortly thereafter. So we're going to be having the 4 pinball machines and hopefully announcing 2 new products. If not, those products will be announced shortly thereafter by ToyShock. Super, super excited. Can't tell you what those are, but you guys are going to love them. Trust me, because I've read the specs and it's great. And last but not least, don't forget that since I will be there and I will be volunteering and working at their booth throughout the show, I will be there on the 7th, bright and early, before the show even opens, with all the other exhibitors getting set up, which means right when the show starts, we're going to go live. That's right. Pdubs and Pdub's Arcade Loft is going to go live right there at the ToyShock booth, and we're going to be the first ones to show you the 4 new pinball machines. We're going to show you the pinball machines. We're going to go live on my YouTube channel, youtube.com Pdub's Arcade Loft, and we're going to go live on the ToyShock, official ToyShock digital Facebook fan page. Wow, that's a mouthful. So Steven, do me a favor, share the link for the Facebook fan page in the show notes if you haven't joined that fan page yet and you're interested in seeing everything that ToyShock has to offer. You don't want to miss that announcement. So we'll go live on the Facebook fan page the morning of the 7th, and make sure you join the fan page. Super excited, and that's what I have for you guys today. My apologies I couldn't make the show tonight. I know you guys are going to have a great show, and I look forward to catching the replay later. So back to you guys in the studio. Happy New Year, everybody, and in honor of the legendary Glenn, game on.
Hey, P-Dubs, thanks for that report. And you got to learn about broadcast magic, not to give away the fact that it was a recording.
But it was a live recording.
Yeah, it was live when he did it. So we'll work with Pdub on that. We want to kind of introduce this in all seriousness, all kidding aside. Pdub, because he's on the West Coast, he doesn't always get to join us, and we want to do the Loft report weekly for you guys because we know you guys love Pdub. So we're going to kind of get that integrated into here some way, somehow. But we'll work with Pdub on the audio. But guys, what are you thinking about for CES? Now, we've gotten a lot of leaks, and the elephant in the room, if you will, Arcade1up and the pinball and some other leaks that we found that some articles have been pulled offline, which I'm going to bring up right now. And so I'm wondering if Arcade1up is going to get mad. But I don't know if you guys have seen this, but Arcade1up and Zen Studios announced a 3/4 scale pinball machine.
Yeah.
Now, you guys say, well, that's we've been hearing about this all day. Yes, you have, but not about this, the Zen Studios. But when I click on the link, watch what happens. Oh my goodness, it takes you to a 404. It's not found. Was that another whoops, or do you think this is starting to be a, Glenn, do you think this is something that they're slowly planning, leaking, taking it away, or is this somebody really oops?
Well, you know the old saying, being in broadcasting, you know, there's never any bad press or bad leaks. I don't think it was probably intentional. I think it may have been, you know, or maybe it was. I don't know, but it didn't seem to me like it was something they leaked intentionally. However, the fact that the cat is out of the bag, the machines that we saw, if anyone was able to catch a photograph of it, actually they can right now. Of course, I started another Facebook group. It's what I do. There's now a AtGames pinball fan page on Facebook, and basically, as you can see in the photograph here, they're using a. I think it's also still. Is it a 24-inch? Because I didn't
It
get all
is
the
a
information.
24
I think it might
inch.
be a
Yep.
24-inch, but the bezel on the sides are much thinner than on the ToyShock. It does have a secondary screen on the backboard, but also a stationary picture as well.
Well, let's preface
it's
this,
looking
Glenn.
pretty nice.
We got this right from Arcade1up. They were kind enough to send us this. So we have a high definition image here that we can pull in, and you guys, we can kind of show. It almost even looks like there's some T-molding going on there, huh?
Yeah,
It could be.
It's pretty.
And this was like a 7-inch screen, I believe, that they were saying, right, for the
Right.
back box.
Right. And then, so you already have the 2 screens on there. So the modding capabilities, if you wanted to do that, is probably much easier than what Retro Ralph had to go through on the ToyShock. But the machine itself looks pretty nice. I mean, the legs, I believe, are adjustable, so you can get a little more head out of it. There's not too much more information we've got on it, but the fact that there was a bit of a leak today, again, they pulled it. It was out. It came back. It's gone.
Oh, but
and I know
Glenn,
John.
you have little
But
faith.
John will be. John will be on. John will be on later in the broadcast today to talk about it a little bit more. But oh, are you getting something right now? Is there
So
information coming from
so
John?
this pinball machine is also Wi-Fi enabled. It has
Correct.
Hey,
Right.
a built-in solenoid for haptic feedback, and it has a built-in accelerometer for a real nudge and tilt feature. Now,
interesting.
I actually stole that image, and I'll just be honest, from the IGN that had it up earlier today when I was reading the article with that. So, with that being said, that seems to be 3 features, and John can confirm or deny that if he's allowed to when he comes on. He might be sitting there going, "Oh, what did I get myself into?"
But I think because that bezel is thinner, that I think the width of it might be a little bit more narrow. But I don't think that's a really a big deal breaker. But it looks more symmetrical, not symmetrical to work for, more proportionally right with the bezel as thin it is. What do you think, Doug?
So the first thing that I'm noticing are like actually the smaller details, the things that are, not the big talking point, so to speak, like adjustable legs. I think that's going to make a lot of people happy just because you can't please everybody height wise. Everyone's going to be built differently, so everyone's going to have different aspects to how they want their playfield lined up. But the fact that it has adjustable legs, the fact that it has that faux coin door, so to speak, that's the first of its kind for any Arcade1up product. So that's again
And
a nice little attention to detail.
that's the volume and power door as well. If you noticed that.
Uh-huh. We don't have an actual full plunger. We just got a push button according to this mock-up,
Yep.
which I'm indifferent on it, honestly. Like a real plunger is cool and all, but in reality, it's a virtual pinball, so it's simulating an actual pinball. So I'm okay with just a button as long as the gameplay itself is really good and accurate and responsive and things like that. I'm a Star Wars nerd, so of course anything Star Wars is take my money right now type of stuff. But the Wi-Fi definitely has my interest extremely peaked because the possibility that we could download more tables and then one of the many complaints we hear from people in the Arcade1up message boards is, I wish these came with more than 3 or 4 games. So if this is Wi-Fi enabled and has the ability to download more games, well, that's going to make everyone happy right there.
So, again, I'm jumping over here to the chat room, and Broken Quad has confirmed it's a 7-inch active screen on the bottom, is what he's saying.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm following it. It says Zen has the rights to William tables. Yes, is that a question? That'll be for you, Glenn. The Zen Williams Zen
They
has the rights.
definitely did at one point. I think they still do at this point. The Williams has been pulling and moving stuff around a lot lately. But Zen at one point did have it. So I can't personally confirm. I'm sure John will later if they still have it.
What do you guys think about how, with the ToyShock, I can confirm this, that there's no recess in the screen where you have the big bezel, which it bothers a lot of people. It doesn't bother me because of the young kids. And New Year's, I had people setting their glasses on it. So I was kind of thankful for that thick bezel, which is what I kind of figured was going to happen. But what do you guys think about the table being recessed down inside of it? All in all, when you first look at this being a true mock, what's your first takeaway, Glenn? I mean, what are you thinking with this?
Well, I'm actually have to really wait and see how the screen is. I mean, there are pinballs that have a 3D effect. Actually, like they look down, like you have depth going down in there.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen the screen. Hopefully, when Doug's out at CES, he'll actually be able to confirm that screen and how it looks, if there's actually some 3D effect to it. I'm actually fine with it because a real pinball machine would never be right at the top anyway. It would be recessed. But again, hands-on and eyes on will be the telltale sign. And Doug will be at CES and talking to them, and he'll give us some information live here as well, or semi-live. We're still working out those details. But the fact is that we need to really see it. I mean, the pictures look great, but a static photograph is not going to tell everything. And that Doug will be out there to actually take a look at it.
Yeah, and again, this is a digital mock-up. This is not an actual like fully retail ready product. So things can change, probably will change from the time we see this mock-up to the end result product. Number one is pretty happy with actually seeing a recessed monitor. To me, that lines up with what we're kind of used to seeing the more expensive virtual pinball machines. Typically, they do have a little bit of a recessed monitor where the playfield's tilted and you get a little more depth. Plus, you've got a little thicker, whether it be glass or plexiglass or whatever topper each company decides to use. But it gives you that added depth and that just added little security blanket, so to speak, to have that distance between the actual monitor and the playfield top itself.
What do you guys think of the actual logo that they've got going on here? This is the actual logo that they sent over, the at-home virtual pinball Arcade1up. I mean, this looks like they're going for broke here. Like this, that you don't just create a logo if you just intend to do one virtual
A one
pinball,
and
and that's
done.
exactly. So, what do you guys think? Chat room included. What is everybody thinking with this? Are we going to see some more come out right away? I mean, that seems to be Arcade1up's thing, where you put 3 or 4 tables or arcades out. I'm also curious why they went with Star Wars. Not that I'm complaining as a Star Wars nerd. I'm just saying, why do
Well,
you
that's
think?
that's that's easy in my opinion. I mean, the movie's out right now. The Mandalorian is a big hit as well. So Star Wars is, whether you love it or you don't, it's on people's minds. It's been around over 40 years now. So their Star Wars arcade, the Arcade1up that they came out with was a big hit for them as well. So they obviously have a license with Lucasfilm, and I'm sure they're going to use that as much as they can. So to me, it actually made sense that would be the first one they're bringing out.
So, guys in the chat room and guys watching, and you guys, what would you like to see as another table at launch? If you could have it right now, and I know, Doug, you're wearing the Darth Vader shirt, which is a great shirt. I have that
Yeah.
shirt actually. Um, what would you like to see as like top 3 launch titles? If they said, okay, when you go out to CES, hey, we're going to do this, we're not sure what the next 2 titles should be right out the gate. Glenn, we'll hit you, but we'll hit Doug. What do you think? What are you thinking?
Uh, firstly, Back to the Future. I'm a massive Back to the Future nerd. I've been skateboarding for 20 years, so Back to the Future is a pinball machine I've played tons and tons and tons. Next to that would be Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, any of those Jurassic series pinball machines, and then lastly is the Marvel series, which all coincidentally all I think fall under that Zen Studios umbrella. So I think this is something they have access to and could easily turn around pretty quickly.
I have to agree with 2 of those for sure. Definitely Back to the Future and the Jurassic Park. But I would go for Star Trek: The Next Generation. That was just one I played a lot,
Oh, that is a
being
good one.
older. Once again, but that was a really good table. Um, that's the beautiful thing about virtual pinball. I mean, you really can cater it and design it whatever you want it to be. Once you have the basic design down, it's easy as long as you get a license to
Mm-hmm.
put the board in there. The big thing as well is, will they address complaints that the ToyShock had with delays with the flipper, things of that nature. The plunger, the button
Well,
doesn't bother me too much. Someone may come out with a modification
Pdub doesn't think
to
they
change
will.
that.
Pdub doesn't think they will because he said they're already dropping the ball, because they only added 1 flipper to the logo. He said there's only 1 flipper on the logo, so we're in trouble. But
Illuminati confirmed.
but let me roll back here. Ryan Dematis, if I said your last name wrong, I apologize. He said Twilight Zone and Universal Monster. Twilight Zone was I love that one. That was one I thought was good. Somebody said Terminator 2, Batman. Let me see here.
Adam's Family is another one.
Adam's Family was one I saw. Chat room's moving quick. I'm sorry. So, but I think you guys got some really good titles. It'd be really interesting to see what they're actually gonna bring. Pdub goes, imagine the lag on that thing. Glenn, do you have any? You don't have any full size tables currently. I mean, I know you have the Tron, and the Zaxxon.
Right. I've been. It's one of my projects. I have a 7-inch with a 5-inch display that I built along with my friend Dwayne Ringo, and I've been working on a 42-inch main screen and a 32-inch rear panel. It's one of those projects that kind of go on and on and on, and you never quite get it ready. So I don't have it here. It's basically still in parts. But pinball, I definitely love it, and I've always wanted a virtual pinball. But to anyone out there, it's not like MAME or other emulators. Virtual pinball is a bit of a pain, a real pain. to set up and get working properly. When you get it set up, it's fine, but a lot of people can never get it working because there's different products that have to work together. It could be just such a hassle. And I'll tell you, virtual pinball for me is a hassle just to get working right.
Mm-hmm.
But once it's working, you're good. But it's not like when people take an Arcade1up or and convert it to a MAME cabinet or something along those lines. Virtual pinball is a totally different ball game. Even spec wise, people think they have a PC strong enough because it plays MAME games, and they throw virtual pinball on there and it runs horribly. So
Let me
there's a lot more to it. So these companies making these is very welcome.
Well, let me ask you this, Glenn. Nick Chrisman in the Facebook chat room, he had asked, well, since it's Zen Studio, couldn't you just download the whole catalog and put it on there? But we haven't gotten confirmation that it's like a Zen Studio. I mean, we just saw that article. So what's your take?
Right, and we don't know what their business model is. Is it going to be one like Star Wars with one virtual pinball on there? It doesn't make sense, but you don't know. Are they going to offer 2 or 3 like they've done with their arcades, or are they going to do something like ToyShock did, have a number like 15 tables on there, and then have storage on there or USB on there where you can now download additional tables? We don't know, but John will be on a little bit, and then we'll really be able to find out some more about it, I hope.
So do you guys think, and Doug, well, we can kind of direct this to you to answer this one to start off with. Do you think this is going to kill ToyShock? I mean, obviously, AtGames can't be far behind with any of this. I mean, they got to be taking all this in and looking at the feedback that the community's given, that us that have been testing stuff with the legends have been giving them. Do you think this is the end for ToyShock, or do you think that just like the Legends Ultimate and the Arcade1ups, there's room for everybody in this? What's your take on it?
I definitely think there's room for everybody in this one. I don't think by any means this is kill ToyShock. I think what it does is it provides different avenues for different fans of different, IPs and tables. So you'll get people that are really fans of the Gottlieb tables, and you'll have people that are really fans of the Zen Studios tables, the Marvels, the Star Wars, things like that. So you'll have, something for everybody. And since it's, divvied out according to brand, so to speak, you're going to have a choice either way. And obviously, they're going to feed off of each other as far as their features and their benefits and their price points. Does ToyShock go away overnight because of this? No, I don't think so. I mean, they were the first to the market and the first to kind of prove that, number one, there is a market. Number two, you can do this at a reasonable price point. Now it's just a matter of what does their round 2 look like? What does their wave 2 look like? Do they improve like Arcade1up did in the past on their previous products? And do they issue out better, more adaptive gameplay for the experienced players? And do we get more, first party titles that more people are familiar with from ToyShock? That's something that we'll know. And if the answer is, no to those, then, well, maybe ToyShock does go the way of the dinosaur. But right now, I think there's plenty of room for multiple people, including AtGames, if they were to come out with their own virtual pinball.
And Glenn, with you started up the official digital Arcade1up Pinball group, and just in a matter of, I would say, 6 hours, we've exceeded 500. And I'm not saying this because of numbers, so I don't want anybody to be like, oh, you're right. It has nothing to do with numbers, but I want to put this into perspective. In less than 6 hours, you have over 500 people that want to get in. There's probably more that want to get in right now. Yes, it's kudos to Glenn for getting that going, but I know working with Pdub on the ToyShock one, it took almost a week to get 1,000. So what I'm saying by all this is, because of Arcade1up's footprint in the marketplace, does that make it tough for companies like AtGames who are now trying to get a reputation back as, we've got good products, people? But Arcade1up has, they had some rocky roads with things, but they fixed it. Does that kind of automatically put them in the leader, Glenn?
Well, I'm not thinking that's the case. I mean, like you said a second ago, AtGames did have some issues in the past, which they've, I think, at least at this point, shown people that they can correct and come out with a very strong, excellent product. Because the Legendary Ultimate, I think, is definitely a product that a lot of people want to get their hands on, and it's a quality product. They're backing it, they're supporting it. When Arcade1up first came out, they had problems too. The difference is that AtGames has a longer history, so they had a longer history of people not liking their products, even though the products I felt were adequate. I mean, they were $30 Atari machines. Arcade1up came on the scene. They had problems, but they kind of started squashing them right away. So their problem history, if you will, is shorter. But I will say right now, though, when you hear Arcade1up or hear AtGames or you hear ToyShock, out of the three, Arcade1up may have a more positive just initial response from people right now. Think of the Star Wars cabinet, the Marvel cabinet, where a lot of people may still think of the AtGames older product line, haven't yet experienced the Legendary Ultimate. Now, when you get to the ToyShock, it's just a new product altogether. So the big thing I'm taking away from this whole thing is that there are three companies currently working on it. Well, definitely two. We don't really know about AtGames, so I shouldn't really say that. But just the fact that two companies are out there, Arcade1up definitely looked at ToyShock. I'm guessing here. I don't know for sure. Looked at them, said what they were doing, and improved upon it. And now I'm sure ToyShock's looking back at Arcade1up and saying, and we're doing our next thing come out here. So regardless of what happens, well, first of all, do these companies going to go away quick? I don't think so.
No.
I think the products will be around. But again, the winner is going to be all of us because we'll have options. The ToyShock, I think, might be the more inexpensive version to get your feet in and trying it out. AtGames, I can't talk about it all, but Arcade1up is definitely looking to be more the premium of the more affordable units. There are definitely much more expensive pinball machines out there. We're talking $3,000 to $5,000 or more thousands of dollars. So again, they're not competing with them. But for the average person who wants a virtual pinball, play a lot of these games, I think Arcade1up right now, at this point of the game, is definitely the higher end, and the ToyShock is more of the, very casual kid machine, which is what they advertised it to begin with. Let's not make jokes about this. The ToyShock was always positioned themselves as a kid's toy.
Right.
Arcade1up, I think that was and it definitely was in the beginning with the Arcade1up line, that was really more towards kids. But they realized that kids like us will spend the greenage to get a little bit better machine and other options. So they're realizing that now coming. Exactly. So they're going to come into the pinball game already knowing, listen, we're not going to lowball and give a product with low rent stuff. Let's hit them now with a very decently equipped machine at a fair price. And I think the price point they're hitting for with what they're getting compared to ToyShock, I think is very good. And again, I'm still in shock in total, no pun with ToyShock, that they're making at this price point. Because virtual pinballs, if you look at the bigger ones, again, these are not really competing with them, but the bigger ones cost you $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 easy. So to get a part of that home, it's like what they're doing here with these guys here. They're not meant to give you the full arcade experience. It's just that general of that at a price that people like you and I can afford.
And somebody said about Pinferno, I haven't heard from those guys in probably a week. I need to reach out to them tomorrow because I know the holidays. This could change a lot of things for them too because they're having issues trying to get things into the United States. But somebody in the chat room goes, well, ToyShock sucks. Have you ever played it? Well, yeah, I actually have one. It's right over there. And let me tell you something. For New Year's, that thing was hopping probably for a good 4 hours nonstop. There was always somebody on it, and the legends. We had a few people like with my one friend who's really big in the golf. He kind of lived on Golden Tee and then went over and played some of the newer Golden Tee on the legends and different things like that. Like there was my one friend, she really likes Final Fight, so she sat there and beat the game. It's just she beat my high score on it too, so now I have to go back and try to beat it. But I mean,
isn't there a reset button in there? Yeah. Reset that back to factory settings.
But it was
the power went out. Whoops.
Well, I kept joking with her about it, but it's one of those things where these machines were great when the Legends was tied up. People were playing something, and I asked people flat out. I'm like, "Do you notice any latency with it?" And they're like, "No, it plays fine." I said, "Do you notice any floating ball?" And they're like, "Well, isn't that the object of pinball? The ball's supposed to float." So, talking to normal people that aren't into this, and I'm not trying to start a war here in the chat room here. So, guys, just calm down a minute. To average people, $400 for this, they won't touch it. I think the speakers are crappy. That's
an excellent point you brought up. Is that a lot of people who watch us are going to be more of the semi-hardcore, maybe not the hardcore, but semi-hardcore. But ToyShock, Arcade1up, their product line is not designed just for us. It's designed for people who go into Walmart, who go into Costco, for their kids. It's not meant to be a perfect $5,000 or $6,000 arcade experience. But if you get something close to that at a decent price point, that's what they are. And the ToyShock, again, is there a little lag? Perhaps. Is everyone going to notice it? No, absolutely not. Someone who's very hardcore will. but a lot of people won't even notice it. And if they do, it wouldn't bother them because it's really a fun little machine. So
It
you
is.
always have to take things at their face value. Don't expect a $10,000 machine for $30. It's just not going to happen.
But you know what? The only time they noticed that there was lag or latency is when I took them over to the Legends and I had them play Pinball Effects. I had the Star Wars tables, and I had them play that on the Legends, and they were like, "Okay, I see what you were saying when you asked why the ball was floaty. You're talking about a faster, a faster setup, and Pinball Effects is awesome, but." They still went back and played the other pinball game because they still had a hard time keeping up with the game because I mean, let's face it, most of that generation, these guys were in their like 20s, gals and guys. I don't want to just say guys in general, but they were in their 20s or younger. I was the oldest one here, and they didn't really play pinball growing up. So this is pinball to them. They don't know anything different. So
And I'm really happy that Doug played a lot of pinball. I mean, I
yeah,
honestly would think someone his age went right to the games. The fact he even likes pinball, because pinball it's different. It's not like an arcade game, but there is very good strategy and
Yeah, there's
concentration
skill involved.
required in there.
yeah.
And I'm really
Mhm.
impressed. Doug, COOLTOY, I'm impressed.
I'm wise beyond my age. What can I say? No, I was always a movie buff, so what always gravitated and pulled me into pinball was those marquee titles, the Back to the Future, the Terminator 2, Adam's Family, things like that that I knew and loved on the big screen. Hence the big screen behind me. I have a home theater that I just absolutely binge out and watch movies all the time. So my pinball love and obsession comes from those movies and those IPs that I love. So that's why I'm really excited to see this from Arcade1up and excited to see other companies potentially releasing anything movie related as far as pinball IPs, because that is what I grew up loving and that's what I grew up experiencing the most.
Sorry, I see Scott's in the chat room, and I was just kind of asking him. I'm like, "Hey, so where's John at?" We're like,
John sent me a message. He's running about 10 minutes late, so about 7:05,
"Okay,
7:10. He said it'll be
all
on.
right. Well, we'll let it. We're still
Well,
chatting about this, so we're still good. Because I don't want people to think like, hey, you guys said he was coming. He's coming. So
Clickbait.
yeah, he wants to make an entrance, and that's fine. But I think overall, not one person when they were here for New Year's said to me, "Oh, I don't want to play that because AtGames made that. I don't want to play this because Arcade1up made this. I don't want to play this because ToyShock made it." They were going over and they were just, this was an arcade. That's the way they looked at it. And I think that's the market that's going to sell these. We're the ones that get kind of aggressive with this, right? I think that's
Yeah,
the
it's true.
tough point.
Yeah,
right.
and one of the things that Arcade1up has the advantage in this market, so to speak, as far as pinball comes, is brand recognition. So I remember when
Yes.
ToyShock first came out, people were like, "Oh, this looks awesome and everything." Has anyone ever heard of ToyShock? Does anyone know if this is any good? Like, everyone, it's a roll of the dice to spend $400 on something in a brand you've never seen any historical, products from aside from RC cars and things like that. So with Arcade1up already having an established presence in home arcades and things like that, being well established in Walmart, hell, even seeing commercials on TV for Arcade1up products gives most consumers a little more confidence in being able to plop down their hard-earned cash for a premium device such as a virtual pinball machine.
I think these companies are making it so much easier for us to have this stuff, right? Before Glenn showed us, I don't know if you guys remember, but Glenn showed us a couple weeks ago, maybe it was episode 2 or 3, his museum that he has there of all these miniature arcades that he has. I mean, Glenn, that was the closest thing you could ever have to an actual arcade.
I'm telling you, as a kid growing up, it was all his wishes playing asteroids. Oh God, please, when I go home, I'll do whatever you want. I have to have an asteroids in my room, please, please, please. And it's taken like 40 years, but yeah. And actually, my house has become basically an arcade. It's an arcade. You can't go in any room now without having something arcade related in there, to the point where my son and my brother are like, "What are you doing?" But they think I'm crazy, and maybe I am. But to be honest, these machines mean a lot to me. These old games mean a lot to me personally. It was one of the best times of my life being a kid, going to those arcades and playing these games. And it was such a long dry spell. It was such a long dry spell where you couldn't get them. And then Basic Fun comes out, Super Impulse comes out, Arcade1up comes out, Replicate, New Wave Toys, Numbskull, and now you have ToyShock, AtGames. You know, making you relive so much stuff you wanted as a kid. I mean, to me, okay, it's a drug. This is, I guess, my drug, and at least it's something that's fun. Other people can enjoy without going to jail. You know, as far
Yeah.
as I can tell, no one's gonna go to jail over any of these.
I personally think it's fine as long as you have the room for it. And my wife, she's been supportive of it. My kids, my daughter though thinks I'm out of control. She has said that
Did
to
you get the
me.
couch out? Was the wife able to let the couch
No,
go?
no, I kind of well, so I compromised, right? So if I go back to this camera here, so what I did was I compromised with her, and let me remove my lower third here. So I actually moved the couch over here. You can kind of see it. Let's go. So the couch is here, and then the other one's on the couch is there, and then the other one goes there. So it's like right in the middle of the room, kind of does like an L or a V toward the TV. But that frees up that back wall where I put the basketball and the pinball. So I've got room there for at least 2 more pinball machines or 2 more cabinets.
And that pinball looks great there. The lights, you know, the LEDs in the background, it just looks really nice there.
Yeah, it fits in perfectly.
Yeah, I think it works good. I just need to get some lights for underneath it. I tend to do that with all my Arcade1ups have LED strips that you can get on Amazon. Before everybody asks me for the link, you can get them on Amazon. They're like $10. Just search them. If you really want a link, I'll put it in the description. Even the ones I get asked all the time about these too. These are actually iPhone controlled, and I can change them. They don't stay that. I can make them look like a solid red going around it, or I can change them to anything. It's all iOS or Android controlled. Those are like $15 for 30 feet or something. Again, I will put links in the description because I know everybody's going to ask about that. But every cabinet, including the Legends, all has the LED lighting behind it. It's just something like I don't know, when you're in a dark basement, it kind of helps lighten it up for like that arcade look. So that's kind of what I did with mine.
Hey, Doug, where's your cabinets at this point? Are they in this room or are they in a different room?
There are multiple rooms at this point. I've got some in this room. I've got some in a different room. I've got a 5-bedroom house. I literally had one room that was reserved for dog beds, just sitting around as like a dog lounge room. It's been relocated to an Arcade1up arcade at this point, and it will probably continue to grow. The plan was to put them in the garage and have an arcade in the garage, and that just hasn't worked out. It's cold, and I'm like, you know what? I like gaming in comfort with air conditioning and heating, and so it's spread around the house right now. It'll continue to grow, and at some point, I will have to have a conversation with myself. But at this point, I'm not having that conversation, so we're good.
I think Glenn's got the least amount of space because he has all that stuff there. I mean, just look
Yeah,
at it. It's just Mr. Collector.
Yeah, this
he's
is,
got
and this is, as you guys know, this is nothing. I mean,
No.
I have 2 bedrooms taken up. I have my home theater now taken up, where that's where the Legends is, and my Star Wars and my Tron unit and Space Invaders. And but what you're seeing behind me here is repeated 4 more times in this room alone. So
let's talk about something while we're waiting for John here, because this is something that I'm following the chat room on YouTube, and somebody had brought up, and I apologize if you were the one that brought it up, but I did see it. Light gun arcade cabinets. We
yeah.
all know the problem that you run into with LCD screens and light cabinets, and I know some guys have taken the light bars, and put them above it, and some folks have said it's not as accurate. I think Ralph was one that even said it's okay. It's an okay solution. What's your take? Are we going to see that, Glenn? Are we going to see a light gun solution that's going to work for these LCD cabinets, or possibly a cabinet?
I can't speak for the companies. I can
No, but I
say
mean
I
the
am
technology.
developing my own. I have my own that'll be coming out in 2020, based on
It is
very good
2020.
technology. I know, but it just started. So it's one of the things we're coming out with. I would love to see a game like Terminator 2 Judgment Day, or even with Taito now, you know, having them with like Operation Wolf, games like that. I would love to have, or even Duck Hunt. God, Nintendo, would you give us something out there? Um, I would love to have those type of games, or Outlaw, Hogan's Alley, something, or like Jurassic Park. You know, they have a great game too with the light gun. So I would love that type of game. I can't speak for any of the companies, but I'm going to be offering that solution myself, and then you can always mod it and add it to your machine. But it would really be nice to have Arcade1up or AtGames or someone to come out with a really good light gun cabinet. I think people would really like that up, just like a driving cabinet. Another thing people really want.
But it's funny you should say about a driving cabinet, because I got this for Christmas as a gag gift. I don't know if somebody saw it. It's a game we play, or
Why can't I get a gag gift like? I don't get gag gifts like that. I get like a box of stocks.
It's called like White Elephant, and so everybody picks a random gift. And the one person told me to pick this one because they said they knew I could use it and nobody would steal it from me. Well, they were absolutely right. So it's a PC NASCAR Thrustmaster. It's got the steering wheel, it's got the stick shifter, and it's got the brake. And I bought a 15-pin USB adapter, and I plugged it in Raspberry Pi. The certain things work with it, like the buttons will work on the Raspberry Pi, but I can't get the steering wheel to work. Some folks said it because of the way the steering wheel is not a continuous spin like a spinner would be. So
I think number one, your main problem is it's NASCAR branded, therefore it's only capable of turning left.
No. No, don't tell me that, Doug. I was kind of hoping. So if anybody has any ideas, I'll be the first to admit I am not a super modder. I don't, I can follow somebody's tutorials. I can do mods, but I'm not. So I know where my lane is. I know where to stay in. So if I can't use it, that's
possible.
fine. I just thought it would be cool. It's free.
Gutted. It's possible it could be gutted, and I'll have to look at it. Maybe we can do something. If you're okay with actually modifying it, not using it as it is.
Hey, I got it for nothing, man. We can do whatever. We can light the thing on fire if you want, as long as we can film it.
Okay. Well, okay.
That's what you do with NASCAR, don't you?
Yeah, just make sure you have a can of PBR in your hand. You'll be all right.
So anyway, that's going to be something we're going to try to mess around with. I'm okay with it. If we have to mod it, I just thought it would be kind of cool to hook up to a Raspberry Pi. It's already got the clamps on the bottom, so you could actually clamp it to an Arcade1up control deck. So it's something you could just kind of slide in and then put the pedals on the ground. So I think it would be cool to work with the mod that I have on the Arcade1up.
Well, I'll tell you, I've had a steering wheel myself for a long time. It's one of those projects I've sat, but I'll revisit it, and then we'll take a look at this. We'll take it offline. We'll talk about it after the show, and see if we can get it working. I know we can get it working. Just how easy.
Mikey G's getting on COOLTOY for slamming NASCAR. He's like, he goes, don't knock that. My family says that's the name of the person on YouTube. Do you think Daytona USA Arcade1up cabinet would be a good thing? I'm trying to get the word out.
It'd be an amazing thing. I don't know. Talking about good thing. I mean, take my money now. And I think I remember John saying he absolutely wants to see that one as well. So, I mean, that's one of the most economical. What am I trying to say? It's made the most money in the arcades. I think it's like top 10 as far as arcade revenue.
I'm sorry. I'm reading some comments here about the turn left spinner and these guys. So Scott is watching. So Scott, the majority has spoken. They want Daytona USA.
Absolutely, get Daytona USA on there. Daytona USA on there. Virtual Racing on there, and like Sega Rally. There's your 3 games right there. And I agree with Doug. Take my money. My money. Take it.
Daytona. That song. It never gets out of my head.
Anything Sega, get off my lawn. Gaming says anything Sega. Super GT. Somebody said Super GT in the chat room. Triple X said that.
Yep, that's another very good game. But definitely, I mean, if you have Sega Rally, Daytona USA, and VR Racing, because VR Racing is one that really kind of started it for me anyway. They're just phenomenal games. Sega had other ones as well. Super Monaco GP was another good one in the arcade. So if you get a steering wheel game out there with a good shifter on there and a gas pedal and a brake, you want to make a sit-down cabinet, even better. My friend, actually, Bruce Yeager, he's actually making one. And I know another couple people made it as well. But again, I think now you kind of have to separate yourself. You have to make a cabinet that really stands out and something like that would definitely stand out and get people's attention.
So Bruce, you just mentioned Bruce Yeager. He's in the Facebook chat, and he's basically saying you need the left turn NASCAR GRS spinner is what you need.
We sell those half off because you're only turning one way. So
It's gonna be like patting your head and rubbing your belly at the same time to try to get the steering configured.
So let's talk about somebody that we haven't talked about while we're waiting for John to kind of meet up with us. It's the what is it? The I Arcade, the double I Arcade, and I know Doug, you're going to be meet with them. They sent out some emails because I was registered and everything just kind of got out of whack, and just it's not going to work this year for Glenn and myself. But what do you think about that? And for those that don't know, that's the arcade that starts out flat and it stands up.
Yeah, it's modular. They said that has the ability to be a full-size arcade and then potentially go to a bar top style without being able to see an actual picture of it. You just have to kind of visualize that in your head.
I'm
how that
working
would
on
look.
it. I'm working on it.
Ah, gotcha. But yeah, I mean, the modulation of it is appealing because you're gonna have people that maybe don't want that, have that full size stand up, and then you're gonna have people that do want that. So you're gonna give, people options, and options are always great for everybody. Consumers love options. They don't like to be forced into a pattern one way or the other. But it's definitely somebody new coming to the block. Obviously, as Scott has mentioned from Arcade1up, that retro gaming is booming more so than ever, and a lot of other companies are taking notice, and they want to get a little piece of that action, so to speak. And you'll probably see a couple other companies jump into this market, but it's yet another person, a new challenger enters.
And unfortunately, they haven't released any images, so
right.
We'll have to use our
silhouette.
imagination.
That's all you get to say.
Glenn, do you have room for one?
Yeah, Cole could sleep outside. It's not cold all the time. So
I think it'd be pretty interesting if you had your son sleep outside.
He would hate it, man. He's definitely not an outdoorsman whatsoever. When we camped, we always camped on a trampoline, so it was nice and cushy. So we're too domesticated. But I tell you, one thing I started thinking about when I think about like these other companies starting to come into the fray, I'm wondering when it hits a saturation point. When do we become a crash of 1983 all over again? When there's just too many companies out there saturated, people start turning away. It's not at that point yet, but it's something I do think about because it seems like so many people are jumping on. It's something that potentially could happen. I don't know, but it just popped in my head a minute ago when I hear all these other companies at CES starting to make consoles. I mean, when you think about it, back in the 80s, you had probably 15 different consoles out there, from Atari to Magnavox to Emerson. All these companies had consoles out. Now you only have Xbox, Microsoft, you have Sony, and you have Nintendo. Sega was in it for a while, and it kind of fell out. So I'm just wondering at what point, maybe it could be a question out there, when do they think it could be too saturated? When there's just too much out there, too many choices? Would that potentially be a problem, or is that always going to be a good thing?
That's an interesting question.
That's what I do. I ask the old man interesting questions.
Doug's got his wheels turning, so I'm going to let him go.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I mean, yeah, oversaturation is a completely possible thing, but what it really boils down to is the games themselves. There's only so many IPs available, and you're probably more often than not going to see a lot of these companies willing to market their licenses to multiple, companies doing the same thing, just because it kind of thins out the water, so to speak. And you would think, oh yeah, sure, the company might have 4 revenue streams, but if you've watered and diluted the market so much to where there's 4 different arcades that play the same exact games, then you're obviously not going to be drawing that same sort of revenue that you potentially would if you would have went all in with somebody that had a better foothold in the market. So I think oversaturation is a possibility, but I think it really boils down to the games themselves. So if we can continue to see people kind of partner up, I think there's still going to be room for multiple companies. But if somebody kind of monopolizes the market, so to speak, and starts really nailing those major brands, then it's really going to be hard for anybody else to have any kind of success in this foothold.
Wait,
another thing. Oh, someone coming in. Who's coming? Who's coming in?
We got some leaks going on. There's hashtag
WikiLeaks.
Wait. Hashtag It's all your fault. He's here. It's all your fault. Hashtag.
Welcome.
Anything exciting happen at work today, John?
Anything happened today?
You guys hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Oh boy. So everyone, what's new? What's going
I
on?
don't know.
I just
Kind of
woke
a
up.
boring day.
It is a boring day. What are we talking about?
Oh, you know, virtual
Double dribble
pinball.
was the big conversation of the
Miss
day.
Pac-Man. I don't know. Zen
Stuff thing.
Studios. Where do you want us to start?
All right. Okay. You know what? I was gonna be.
Here comes the real talk.
Oh my gosh. Okay. What
Did
an
you
exciting
did
day.
you press the wrong button, John? Did you do
Did
that?
I press the wrong button?
Did you
Well, to be honest with you, okay. Let me give it straight, because there's no BS with us.
No.
I want full transparency. So early this morning we were doing some website tests, and in the process of that, some assets came out unexpectedly, and that's the situation. I do have to tell you that a lot of information out there is still not final yet, so there's only so much I could say. Gosh, I talk like a PR guy. There's only
You're taking David's job. What are you doing?
there's only
Somebody's
so
holding
much.
cue cards.
Yeah, well, there's only so much I can say until we have the final announcement.
So
But I'll do my best. I mean, I said I'll be on the show, and I answer as many questions as I can. But honestly, uh, you know, we need to wait till we have the official announcement closer to CES, and a lot of these details that are coming out are still being worked on all the way up to the last minute. To be honest with you, so please bear with us. My advice to people wanting to know more information, besides a lot of the vague answers I'm going to give out today, go on our official website.
and
Oh no.
okay, so
No
everybody
way.
screen grab it.
Well, get a capture of that. That's a screen capture
no
right there.
way.
He's back. David pulled the plug again.
Yeah.
Hang on, we're gonna get him back. David pulled the plug on him again.
What he was going to say is go to the official Arcade1up Pinball fan page on Facebook.
There you go.
That's what he was going to say.
He'll be back.
All information you need will be there.
He'll be back probably in just a few seconds if you want to ping him, Glenn. But in all seriousness, I think it's pretty funny and cool that these guys are willing to like come on here and just be like, you know what, crap happens, man. Doug. I mean, they could have just ignored it, but the reality is, and John didn't say this, the reason it accidentally slipped was because Scott had talked to him, and they were gonna share it officially tonight on the Retro Buzz, but somebody else beat him to it. That's the true story. That's really what went down. Now, whether he'll agree to that story is beyond me, Doug.
I mean, it lines up perfectly.
That's what I was thinking. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
100%.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we'll wait for John to get back on, and obviously, they can only do so much with, with telling us. I mean, we can't. I mean, what do you?
Well, the positive thing is we obviously prove that there is a massive need and want and draw for this product. I mean,
Yeah.
it generated an amazing amount of buzz and people chatting and all sorts of messages. Do we get him back?
Not yet. He's not back.
He's attempting it right
Okay.
now.
Okay.
He was just finalizing all the details he was going to tell us. I think David is strong arming him, maybe.
He's got him by the whole coat hook. Yeah. But no, it generated a lot of buzz. It proved that people that have been clamoring and kind of asking for this for a long time from Arcade1up, that they are more than willing to go all in and purchase something like this. People want to see pinball, and they want to see pinball from Arcade1up. So it's exciting that we know this is going to happen. Yes, we want more details. We want all the details. In fact, we know that CES is going to be a great place for details, and potentially John's going to have maybe a smidge of something he can share with us, maybe not, but it's completely understandable. We only got a couple days away, so patience is a virtue and it pays off.
John, seriously, I thought you were going to talk to David about, hitting that button, but you didn't.
Okay, you guys gotta bear with me. I am on Wi-Fi right now. I wasn't expecting to go on the show today until what happened this morning. I was supposed to have a straight connection. I'll do it well, not next week, the week following to do a
Yeah.
follow-up show on CES.
So
But
I was just telling everybody how you and Scott were gonna release all this information today, and that's why you were getting it ready on the website. But then somebody, had to go and blow all that, and here we are.
unfortunate technical mistakes. I mean, yeah, we were supposed to release we were supposed to release it today. But you guys have to bear with us, okay? Give us until CES to make it a formal announcement. Okay, having said that, before I drop off again, and I'll try to come back on as many times as I need to. Let's just go with the questions.
Yeah. So if you
have
guys, if you guys have any questions, put them in there now. Now would be the good time to put them in there if you have anything coming up. Can you guys check out on Facebook and see if anything?
Yeah, I'm doing it now.
Scott said, "John, just tell the
cat."
And yeah,
he put a
All right,
cat
I think
emoji.
let the cat out of the bag is what he's saying.
Okay.
Tell him everything.
Let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
Is that what he said? I don't know that that's what he said.
Just tell them. He's saying, just tell them. Just tell them.
What should I go
I
on?
appreciate you fact checking me.
All right, everybody's like, John was hard to hear. I turned him up. All right, you guys should be able to hear him now.
How about now? Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You had the mic away from it.
So for starters, why don't you just tell us what we already know? Let's give a baseline for people that maybe didn't see.
I can pull up pictures if need be. I mean, I have them.
Well, I think everyone's seen the pictures.
Yeah.
It's no secret we let the cat out of the bag. I think last week or so. We are going to release our version of the pinball table, a digital VPin table that has a lot of bells and whistles. What I can confirm to you right now is that some of the features that we have. We are going with a 24-inch screen. We talked about having a thin bezel, but that's in a protective overlay, and that's done so you have you can maximize the space. It doesn't look like you have a big thick bezel. Basically, we kind of slant the screen in, and I think that's a good solution. We have the accelerometers that I've been talking about for the past 3 weeks that has real tilt functions. We have solenoids to give haptic feedback. We have 2 monitors, and we're going to be using the best digital pinball games out in the market. That's not Gottlieb.
Because I can quickly hit the off button just as quick as I allow you guys on. Be respectful if you come on. He's not going to tell you anything that he wouldn't tell us. So that's the only thing I ask is that if you're going to call in, obviously he can't tell you certain things. Just wait for CES, but allow the guy to kind of answer your question and be respectful. I can't say more than that, right?
It's all good. Everyone will be good.
All right, John. So I was interrupting you before. Go ahead and start saying what you were saying. We got the recording going, and I'll edit it all in at the end.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, we're on air. So let's talk about some of the features. We're definitely going to be releasing our VPin machine. Our goal is to provide a $5,000 experience for $500, right? We can't confirm the pricing just yet. That's our goal, to try to get it to 500 and under, but that's going to be very difficult. We're trying our best, and it's because there's these features that we definitely want in them. And as I discussed that, we're talking about, we need a beefy processor, right? We need some beefy RAM. We need enough processing to be able to handle 2 monitors and able to handle more, I guess, more technical and complicated VPin games. We have the haptic feedback we talked about, determining how many solenoids that we need, the accelerometer with real tilt, all the other features, even the ability to change the artwork in the back screen, the ability to adjust the heights with adjustable legs, and the ability to really go underneath the hood and and change whatever you need to change. So I mean that's some of the features, and there's definitely more. It'll definitely have Wi-Fi capability to be able uh, to download updates if needed. No plans currently for downloadable content. That's still being discussed. But at least the ability, if there's any issues, to be able to download updates. So I think that's pretty cool. That's new information, by the way. That's definitely new information.
That is good
Appreciate
information.
that greatly.
So
and you talked about this ability. Well, we happen to have a caller in that goes by this ability. We have Angel calling in.
Angel, buddy.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing?
Pretty, listen, I got a quick question. I'm always happy for new product. My major thing is because I just got the AtGames for Christmas and I love it. It was the best thing I got. But my concern is height. Like everybody goes nuts for the Arcade1ups and I love them, of course. But my major thing about the Arcade1ups that I loved the most was that it was nice and low enough for me to actually just sit there and play.
That's
It's
good.
Sure.
it's not like being in the arcade game where I'm playing with my shoulders up in the air. You know what I'm
Sure.
saying? So my concern is new product. Is it going to stay at that same level? I mean, or are we going to start raising it up? That it's going to be something I'm going to stay away from?
Okay, so the ToyShock product, I don't think is a true three-quarter scale. I think it's a little low. If you see my Arcade1ups here, even on a riser, it's going to be a little taller. It'll be very comfortable for you to be able to sit down and play, and you can actually still adjust the height if for short people like me. But you won't have a problem with the height. We'll probably do a side by side. We'll have images doing a side by side on how tall the ToyShock model is, how tall our 4-foot is, and how tall our digital VPN is. But yeah, we're getting it is significantly taller than the ToyShock model.
Okay, yeah, because that's like a major concern is the height issue. Because after a while, back starts hurting and you get uncomfortable, and you just, I mean, you want to enjoy the game, but you want to enjoy it comfortably.
True, and then we're making this product not just for adults but also for the kids. So that's why it's adjustable. So
I
add it.
No, I was gonna say, John. So to put it into perspective for the folks that are wheelchair bound or something like that, what is a good solution for this? Is there going to be a possibility that there could be smaller legs that can be put on these machines maybe down the road, or is that something? And I know this is still early, but is that a consideration maybe you'd be willing to take for those folks that are in that situation?
He's really thinking about that one.
He's really thinking about that one, Angel.
He's thinking hard. But in looking at it, I mean, the height, I would say, is probably comparable to the ToyShock, but the difference is it does have the adjustability at the bottom to raise it. Not necessarily have to go out to buy a riser. So, Angel, I really think that when it comes out of the box, I think height would be pretty comparable to that, and you probably will be able to play it comfortably.
Yeah.
Then other people, if they wanted it higher, the adjustability is there out of the box versus having to buy it or modify it. I think you'll be okay.
Okay, that's all. That's one of my concerns.
Yeah, sorry I dropped off again. That's exactly right. I mean, you should be able to adjust it right out of the box, and if not, the mod solution should be much easier.
Yeah, because I've thought about I look at my AtGames machine, and I've already thought about cutting about a foot or two off of the bottom.
Right. No, we see that as a concern, and we're addressing that for sure.
Angel,
thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks for calling in, man.
Thanks, Angel.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate all you do,
good work,
man.
Angel.
Yes.
Thanks. Bye.
You guys check him out. This ability on Facebook. All right, so I have to ask you in the chat room, the YouTube chat room's like kind of going bananas here. They're like, ask him what the Wi-Fi is for, please.
Okay. Yes. So the Wi-Fi is for being able to update if there's any issues with the game, to be able to download updates. We are looking into possible other uses for Wi-Fi, but that's not set yet, and there's no current plans to do it. But for now, at least, you'll be able to download updates.
That's right, which is an excellent feature to have. I mean, you guys had some growing pains in the beginning, and you had to send out replacement boards if there was any bugs or features that weren't working right. with the Wi-Fi built in, you can just send an over-the-air update, which again, Tesla-like, to make sure that everything's working properly. If it's not, it's fixable versus have to replace a board, which saves you guys money in shipping and other boards. And the end user has a better experience because they don't have to take the machine apart, simply connect, download an update, it reboots, they're done.
That's a good move. I think that needs to be there, especially for ROM updates and things like that. That's
I
what
think in this day and age, it's such a small price to add a Wi-Fi to. Most of these machines have them anyway, but it's just a good thing to have because if there's anything unforeseen, it's fixable. And like John said, they can't confirm anything right now, but if things were to change, the machine potentially could have features added to it down the road. This depends on contracts and whatever they come up with at some point.
John, somebody
helps with that future proofing.
Christopher in the chat room on Facebook says, if the screen is recessed and slanted, will the top glass still be there, and will it be flush on the top?
Yes. So basically, you have a flush top, you have a thin bezel, you thin outside bezel, and there's a bezel that sinks in a little bit, and then you have your 24-inch screen, and it gives like a good 3D-ish like effect. It's really cool. I can't wait for you guys to see it, and I think it's a great solution if you're doing a 24-inch screen in there.
I think it's a good size. I mean, some people were asking about that because I personally don't want a full-size pinball machine down here. I really don't.
They're big. Yeah. I mean, full-size machines are huge. And again, we're talking they're selling and marketing more to just hardcore games. They are, and there's a lot more people out there where they would buy it if they can get it into their house. And a full-size machine is not going to work out very well. And of course, the expense would be exponentially more going for a full-size cabinet because remember, it's not only you putting it in the house, but a manufacturer like a Walmart or a Costco has to store those things to sell, and bigger units and ship them. It's all that's additional expenses that you have to take into consideration. And again, Arcade1up has hit a kind of a good niche spot with its size that you can get them out of the box, assemble them very quickly. I don't even know if these come built or not. We don't know yet. They may come semi-built. They may come completely unbuilt. I don't know. But you have to take that into consideration because manufacturers have to ship them. Then retailers have to have an area for them. And you want to be able to walk into a store and go, oh, I want that, and pick it up. It's not always you have to wait 4 or 5 days for it to be shipped to your house. You want to be able to take it home then. So these are things that they have to consider. What's that right size? And as we know from AtGames, when they sold to Sam's Club versus Walmart, that was an issue with that. There was a very small size issue, but one that they had to make modifications to.
Yeah.
So you got to think about that.
So, John, there's something else that people have been asking about, and we kind of brought this up earlier in the show. So, are you ready for this one? This was something we didn't even see, but I ended up seeing it this afternoon.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
So the Google search comes up. Arcade1up and Zen Studios announce a 3/4 scale from IGN.com. Now, it says a new collaboration between Arcade1up and Zen Studios is bringing 3/4 scale digital pinball tables home. But when I click on the link, obviously they pulled it down probably because that was an oops as well. So what can you talk about with that? That's what people want to know. Is that something we can talk about? If not, we'll just kind of respect it. And I think he's frozen. I think it scared him.
No, that's a stone face.
Wait. He's coming.
That's a stone face.
He's coming right back. Here he is.
So sorry, David hit the kill button.
I figured as much. He's like, oh my gosh, they found that link. I thought no.
You guys, I'm sorry about this technical difficulties. I wasn't planning to come on today, and I am on Wi-Fi, to be honest with you.
That's fine.
And I know it could be a little irritating. I'll tell you this. We love Zen Studios, we respect them, but we can't confirm anything right now.
Okay.
Again, a lot of things that came out that weren't official just yet, but we're excited to tell you more. All I can say is definitely follow our social media pages. Definitely sign up for the newsletter on Arcade1up.com. And definitely be a part of the ever-growing official fan page for Arcade1up Pinball. But I'll tell you, furthermore, that I can confirm that all of our pinball machines will be partnered with the best licensors in the world, just like we have the best arcade games. And, that's important to us. We need to have the ability to to stick this machine with all the best pinball games.
I think that's a fair answer considering,
Mhm.
you know, what's transpired today. But I will say this. David just lost his job to you. I will say. Sorry, David, if you're watching. I'm joking, obviously. But we got to bust John on these PR responses.
You like how I'm deflecting here and there? I'm doing the best I can, man.
I like how he deflects, but he also physically deflects. He's physically.
Yeah.
It's like Karate Kid. Ha! Ha! Ha!
The apprentice has now become the master.
I've been taking lessons from COOLTOY and his martial arts.
There you go. Well, I mean, I have to give you guys.
next-
I have to give you guys credit, though. I mean, you could have just pretended like this never happened, swept it under the rug, pretended like
No.
nobody saw anything. But
You saw nothing.
yeah, I mean, but if anything, from what I've seen, and I don't know if the rest of the panel agrees, and maybe the chat room, this has created even more of a buzz than if you would have kind of maybe announced it at CES, because now everybody's like hyped and ready to go for CES for what you guys are gonna physically show.
Well, I'll tell you, there's more than what's out there that we're going to show. So I'll give you even a little bit more excitement.
Yeah, the electric car you're coming out with is going to be awesome.
Which one?
That electric car you guys have been working on.
Electric car. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Tesla is in the city that I work in, so who knows?
You got the 3/4 scale Tesla. I'm pre-ordered. I want it.
I want that silver tank, that silver Tesla tank.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want that myself.
Okay, let's ask another question I can't answer.
All right, so there's another one here on YouTube from. If you guys
Yeah.
want to look on Facebook, that'd be great. How many pinballs will they announce next week? Is it just Star Wars or other titles as well? And that's from Alexandro Gutre. Gee, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I apologize.
Thanks for the question. We'll be showing off 2 tables. 2 different ones.
Ooh,
Bubbles
Nice.
and double dribble. Nice.
Twilight
dribble
Twilight
pinball.
Zone and Star Wars.
Twilight Zone. That was a good game, Twilight Zone. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm
That was
telling you,
good.
man. We were just doing, John, if you go back and watch this later, everybody put what they would love to see as tables from you guys if you were going to put out 3 or 4 tables, and they put them in the chat rooms on both YouTube and Facebook. So you and Scott can go back out and you can see what everybody wanted to see in tables.
That's important. I mean, this is the reason why we choose the games that we do. So if you have a poll on the official fan page, let's go for it. I want to see what you guys want.
We'll throw that up after the show. We'll put a poll
Yep.
up on the official
That'd be good.
Arcade1up virtual pinball page, and we'll see what we get.
Now
Sounds good.
everybody's yelling,
Sounds
burger
good.
time release date, release time, something burger time. Listen, guys, I'm as
Okay,
hyped about that as
burger
you
time.
are.
Are you? I am.
I
I
am.
think that burger time. Just wait till you see it up close and personal. I mean, that burger time cabinet is a looker for sure. So release timing. We'll announce that information at CES.
That's not going to be good enough because that's what we've been saying to them.
So I've got a question about CES.
Sure.
If Star Wars Pinball is there on the site, will it be playable for somebody who is
Ooh.
attending CES?
There you go.
Because I was not able to play Star Wars at E3, and I just want to know if I'm not going to be able to get my hands on some Star Wars Pinball either. I need to set my expectations.
That's a great question. I can't answer to if that, what games are in that pinball machine. I will definitely say that these machines won't be playable to the general public, but you'll be able to take pictures and you'll be able to see it up close. But unfortunately, they're not playable.
Okay, fair enough.
I think we kind of all, and if you go back and watch the beginning of the show, we kind of all surmised that was going to be the case because it's so early in the game. It's hard to have working prototypes this early after a year.
Well,
Maybe I can take a stroll. Maybe I can take a stroll to New York City again after CES at some point.
Why don't you all come by New York and we'll give you a demo. I'll tell you this. I mean, they're working, right? You'll see it in a track mode. We don't feel comfortable just yet because it's very early to show to the general public. But you know, there will be some demonstrations there. Maybe you can watch me play
That's
and
fine.
see, see how the frame rate is and everything. But logistically, right now, it's going to be very tough. We only have literally 2 tables though, so to be able to have the general public play, it's just not feasible. It'll take you probably just 3 hours just to even get to the front of the line.
Wow.
Well, it's not the general public. It's COOLTOY.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
and
gets
and again, there's still prototypes. It's the final material may or may not be there. Um, and again, it still involves a lot of testing, but we're almost there.
So they're asking here, and with capital letters, okay, how many arcade cabinets will be announced? That's from the person, My Family. And then Lewis is asking, Tech Buzz, ask him about other titles at CES in big capital letters.
How many new titles? Shoot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Probably at least five new titles, maybe a couple new product configurations. Definitely new categories, new products.
And double
that
dribble.
aren't our standard. Well, I already announced that.
Oh,
we have
yeah.
a 16-foot double dribble.
Yeah,
so.
double dribble's
Nice.
coming. So
And
if
Don't
you guys
forget bubbles.
if you guys
Shout
missed
out to
that show,
Bubbles.
that was a couple weeks
Yeah.
ago. So make sure you go
Yeah.
back. He announced that. So
Yeah, there's a bubble.
I actually have
bubble
another
jar.
question you might be able to answer. It's not really CES directly related at all. Just that I get hit all the time from people from other countries wanting to know, have you guys gotten any further with getting some people to carry your products overseas, Australia, and so forth? Is there any new news on that?
Well, we're definitely progressing, right? I mean, again, you have to understand, this is only what is it our second CES?
Yeah.
Or just
Yeah,
second
so,
CES,
it's
yeah.
number 2. It feels a lot
Right.
longer, doesn't it?
It does. It totally does, right? But getting this to be a worldwide business does take time, and then that's why we do trade shows like this, in order for us to be able to, talk to different worldwide distributors. It doesn't happen overnight, but we definitely understand that there is a strong demand for these machines. Luckily, worldwide, and we're definitely getting closer. So we will see a lot more distribution to Europe and Asia and Australia this year.
Nice.
That's
Thank
good.
you.
Great news.
So I hope that answers. Somebody said on Facebook, Bubbles is great. Don't hate.
That's why we're doing it. Of course, I want a Bubbles VR.
Somebody said,
All right, wait. I got another quick announcement here from Scott himself.
okay.
John D. I say if Doug shows, Doug plays.
Ooh.
What do you mean if I show? I've already bought my tickets. I'll be there.
You ready? Thanks,
Scott.
Well, wait
again,
a second. Wait a second. Scott, if that's the case, you're going to have to hold his camera so he can shoot some footage to get it back to us so we could show it on the show. So you're going to have to record, or John's going to have to record. Somebody's going to have to record that and get his
I'll wear
first.
the body harness cam.
There you go. Get his first impressions of this thing, because I think that's what people want to see. Screen resolution. Man, okay, we see it. You want to know screen resolution. I get it. I see it. It's cool. John, can you talk about screen resolution?
I mean, bottom line, our focus is having the game run at 60 frames per second, right? Now, whether that's at 720 or 1080, that's really going to depend on the final hardware, right? We'd love to have 1080 60. The screen will definitely do it, but it's our focus is frame rate. So that's a roundabout question saying it's uncertain yet what the game resolution will run on, but the screen itself will be able to do 1080.
Okay, that's fair enough. Let's see here. Do you guys see any? Feel free to jump in. I'm just grabbing.
You know what? Scott said, COOLTOY. You'll definitely, if you show up to the booth, we'll be able to have a demo for you. You can play it under
Greatly
strong NDA and
yeah,
and a gun next to me just in case.
You guys all know how NDAs work.
And also, we are going to be this year. We're going to be at a lot of international trade shows just so we can beef up our international distribution. We'll be in Nuremberg, We'll be in Gamescom. We'll be in a whole bunch of places this year. Okay, so it is important for us that we increase our distribution worldwide. Just got to say that.
That's really cool. When is CES? That's next week. It'll be, I believe, Tuesday. It starts, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So I'm just answering through here. Any other questions? Listen, guys. Doug and Glenn put the link in there if you guys want to call in. It's not hard. Just click on the link and you can join in. Everybody's like, NBA Jam, please. You guys are going to have to wait and see. Relax. I mean, jeez.
Yeah, unfortunately, NBA Jam won't be there.
Double dribble.
Double dribble. Yeah. Double dribble. I mean, we did an internal consumer survey and test and poll, very scientific, and we thought everyone wanted NBA Jam, but it turns out there are two games that are even more popular, and it's Double Dribble and Rivals. So we'll focus on those two first, and if NBA Jam is something that the fans want, we'll consider it for sure.
I have a feeling people are going to be burning you at the stake in 2 weeks.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, here's the thing.
Because you're telling them Double Dribble, and if it doesn't show up, they're going to torch you.
There's going to be that one guy that wanted Double Dribble more than anything.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
I'm sorry. Consumer research is consumer research. And the thing is, to be honest with you, we get jaded because we're in the community of very engaged influencers, early adopters, but I'll tell you, we don't necessarily speak for the rest of the rest of the market. The rest of the market's saying Double Dribble, so we have to make some compromises.
All right, so this gentleman Travis Ray, he decided to message me on Facebook here. So this is what he says: pinball is obviously something new that all Arcade1up lovers will be looking forward to. Is there now a focus on unique playing cabinets such as yokes, racing wheels, and shooter games so that even modders will be looking to buy? That's a really good question.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, you're already starting to see that, right? With the yoke, and we want to have a wide variety of control panels, a wide variety of games. So yes, our focus will be helping to offer different types of games, whether it's racing games, Lycan games, more yoke games, sit down stuff. I don't know. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Glenn, do you have any questions there that you were pulling up? Sorry.
Questions? No, nothing I saw coming through on the group. Nothing. Nope.
Everybody's yelling
Dragon
Slayer.
Want to know if Arcade1up will be at PAX East this year?
I don't think so. Maybe one of us will. Maybe I'll just drop by to say hi to people. As an official with the official booth, I don't think so. But we'll consider it maybe for the following year.
E3? You guys going to be at E3?
Yes, for sure.
There you
We
go.
have a huge presence at E3.
So, so what people are not realizing here, and I'm just going to throw this out there, and he hasn't said anything to me about this, nobody, but E3 is bigger than CES, guys. So do you really think they're going to throw all their cards out on the table for CES when E3, John just said, we have a huge presence at E3. So I'm just going to say that. Just think about that. If he's dropping all these huge bombs at CES, what do you think is going to come at E3? Sorry, John, for hyping that up.
Well, you're not wrong.
Well, so there you go. I mean, that's just the reality of things. So we'll be having a similar type conversation with you come closer to E3, right? Because all these guys are going to be like, "What are you bringing out? Yeah. What's coming?" That's when Bubbles. That's when Bubbles is coming out.
Yeah, well, wait till you see what's happening at E3. It's going to be amazing. But yeah, I mean, those CES, E3 usually are two events that we make our major new announcements, and we'll have some minor announcements in between and after. But yeah, I mean, I can't wait for you guys to finally reveal what's going to happen, because there's still a lot of surprises at CES.
Sure.
And again, I'd like to thank everyone for their patience today. I know there was a lot of things that happened that were unexpected, even for me. But I really just wanted to come on the show and just give you as much transparency as possible.
I mean, we always
As I
appreciate you
can.
coming on, John.
You
We
know?
appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, and I appreciate that you guys have me because I definitely think communication's key, and we'll continue to improve that for sure.
Well, I mean, John, we don't want to take up your whole Friday, and I appreciate that. But we did, we wanted to give you an opportunity, and I know a lot of people were looking forward to an opportunity to have you or Scott or somebody kind of explain what happened, and not that we needed that or we were owed that. It was just something that, it was great to hear, and everybody's hyped for it. Everybody is really excited,
Right.
100%.
for
Right.
what's to
There
come.
were a lot of people that really had no idea at all, and that their mind was kind of blown. Like, is that real? Is that real? So again, it's a little unfortunate it got slipped. However, I think that more people are aware and will be looking a lot more closely at you guys at CES.
Well, I hope so. Again, thanks for the opportunity to talk to you guys. I'll see you guys at least in a couple weeks,
Yep.
right? To have a recap of what you've seen at CES, and then at that time I'll have a wired connection and not do this over BS Wi-Fi. But at least I only dropped off 5 times. That's okay.
One last question before you go. Somebody is asking,
Sure,
are
sure,
these
sure.
tables going to be 1 player, 2 player for the? I'm assuming the V pin. So whoever put that in there, sorry, I'm trying to keep up with it on YouTube. It's like going bananas.
So, I mean, you definitely can play 2 players simultaneously. I don't know if that's how it's meant to be played. But whatever the game program, if it allows for, alternate 2-player games, for sure.
Okay.
That feature's
Well,
in there.
the thing to remember, the secondary display is, it's an LCD screen.
It
So
is.
again, with Wi-Fi on there, they can always adjust it, add features, add 1 or 2 players. That's stuff that can always be added down the road, because that screen definitely is not fixed like in ToyShock. You can make it anything you want it to be.
Wait, ToyShock doesn't have a screen on the back. It's
Second
just a
screen,
panel. It's
yeah.
just a panel.
No, they do, but they have the LEDs. They have they have 4
Mm.
players,
Yeah.
4-player LEDs. Now that
Gotcha.
you have a color screen, you could do anything you want on it, put anything you
True.
need there.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah. Are they screens or just basically alphanumeric displays?
They're
I don't
just
know.
alphanumeric
They're
displays.
LED alphanumeric. They're like
Okay.
VFDs,
Yeah.
vacuum fluorescent style displays.
So what we have is a 7-inch LCD screen that basically mimics, a dot matrix screen.
Oh,
Right.
there you go.
But it could do anything. You could do that matrix
Yeah.
and make it do anything you guys want.
Yep. That's crazy. Yep.
Well, John, again, thank you so much for coming on here, guys. And you guys could check it
And,
out.
and thanks Scott for once again being here to tell him to like COOLTOY, try it out when he gets out there.
Yeah, greatly appreciate it.
You heard it from the man.
Yeah.
We'll get it done. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, John.
All
Thank
right,
you, really.
see you, John.
Appreciate all your support.
Thanks, John.
All right.
So
Have a good night.
take care.
You too, buddy.
So this is something that I think everybody, again, we've all kind of been we've been waiting for, and so now that all that has been taken care of, can everybody sleep well tonight? Everything. I mean,
Well, I think more people are going to be pumped now more than ever. I
Right.
really
Yeah,
think
this
people are
is
going to be more
that
excited.
Christmas morning feeling for sure.
yeah.
Like, there's something great waiting for you. You just want to get your hands on it. So absolutely. I
And
can't
actually,
wait to
okay,
Go ahead,
Doug,
sorry.
continue. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, it can't wait to see what else they have in store, because as we're focusing on this virtual pinball, let us not forget they've got some other amazing, exciting announcements coming at CES. So, there's more coming that we should, get hyped for.
Right, and what I was going to say is I have that feeling now that I had last year when they first announced their machines before anyone got any. Before, when CES was coming, there was all that hype
Mhm.
building up over these 3/4-inch machines, and they've been out for a while. So there's people want new machines, that's fine, but the pinballs now kind of rekindle that. Ooh, check that thing out! I can't wait to get my hands on it or see it and play it. So I think that's really cool, and I'm excited too. And I definitely would like a virtual pinball. The ToyShock I didn't pick up; it didn't really tickle my fancy entirely. I mean, I definitely like Haunted House and Black Hole. I definitely like those 2 games, but I'm kind of glad that I'm holding off a little bit and seeing what Arcade1up comes out with. 'Cause I think personally, for me, it might be more up my alley. Just a little more features, a little more advanced than the ToyShock. Nothing against ToyShock, but I just think I'm really excited to see what Arcade1up's coming up with here.
It'll be
Well,
interesting.
definitely. You got your entry level and your prosumer levels with the different feature sets. So you're like your ToyShock's going to be, your casual gamer, and then what Arcade1up is proposing and what we're seeing with these feature set is more of a enthusiast level gaming device for a virtual pinball machine.
Some people are in the chat room and they're saying, well, don't count ToyShock out. We're not counting anybody out here. We are trying to stay.
No, not at all.
No. So what we want to say is this show is something that you guys will see. We are straight down the middle. We are not biased to one company. We're calling it as we see it, but we want to bring the best information that we can to you guys, as honest and truthful, as transparent as we possibly can. If there's a problem, we're going to tell you. It's just, and what we found is the companies have really gotten on board with that. So we're not throwing them to. We're trying to figure out, I guess, the best ways. Just like we were saying, what market is, it geared toward. Like we were trying to figure that out for a while. Like who's it geared toward? Kids. But now it seems like they've found that the arcade enthusiasts have jumped on board and said, "Hey, we'd love this ToyShock if it had a back monitor, if it had adjustable legs, if it had this, if it had that." And
it may be that
it may have
their next wave.
Yeah, I mean, they may, or they may not. They might just throw something out there. So it'll be really interesting to see what ToyShock brings out for Pdub said there's 4 new cabinets coming. So it'll be interesting to see what they're going to drop, with all the demand that everybody's given it. I mean, think about it.
Plus they've had time to get some of that customer feedback. So they had time to, go back to the drawing board and make some adjustments. A lot of people complained about that silver bezel. So one of the first things we'll probably see is a different color bezel. They've got time to react and respond to the customer feedback, which is great for the manufacturing process overall.
And I know I was, a lot of people, they're still ribbing about that bezel. It really didn't bother me to the point where I wanted to pull it off like Pdub did and paint it. It's fine for me. Would I like it thinner? Yeah, but I mean, it's not a deal breaker in my opinion. That's just my opinion because I've seen how it was used over New Year's and with my kids, so it's fine. But I understand it is a deal breaker to some, and that's perfectly fine. So it's going to be interesting. I think this is a year that we kind of, as a community, and I'm saying we, everybody that's watching, everybody that's here, as a community, has really boosted these retro companies that are coming out with this stuff to give us what, like Glenn, like you said, what you always wanted as a kid, and as you're getting that finally.
Yep, losing real estate in the house, but I'm getting it. Sure.
But it's true.
But again, everyone's different, and not everyone's gonna go crazy like I do. Even with the ToyShock, I'm definitely not counting them out, and it's not what I meant to convey. I'm just saying I'm a little more excited about what they're offering at Arcade1up at this time. But again, CES is coming around, and ToyShock's going to be announcing some things. So I may now go, ooh, the shiny light. And I'm going to go, ooh, shiny light, and go over to that one. That's kind of what I do at times. But there's always going to be something there for somebody, and nothing for everyone is perfect for somebody else. So there's definitely a market for all of them out there. The big thing is quality. Make sure they're building something that's going to last, and fun. If you have those two things, that's all you need. It's got to be fun, and it's got to last.
No, I would agree with that.
Absolutely, because somebody may enjoy their game more than anything, and you're not going to take that away from them. Just because you don't enjoy it, or those games or tables or whatever don't really suit your fancy, doesn't mean that the owner themselves should love their machine any less.
Right. It's almost like those sporting events. You have to go. You have to love this team. You have to love that team. You don't. You as an individual have to spend your money, enjoy what you got, and be happy with what you purchased. And as long as you have those 3 things, it doesn't matter who it is, as long as you're happy about it.
Absolutely.
Oh, I feel like an infomercial for like Channel 4.
I was just gonna say,
did you know?
Are you trying to compete with
Screw
John
Rock
there or something, or him and his PR responses? But
he's rubbing off on me.
You know what? Every time we try to end this show at an hour and a half, 2 hours, we hit that 2-hour mark. Glenn, Doug, we've hit that 2-hour mark. I think it's about time to not wear out our welcome. I know we've got a ton of people watching, guys. We Doug,
appreciate it.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Doug's got a busy week ahead of him, and he's going to get us some footage, and we can try to get it up here for you guys. We already know he's going to get some hands-on with that pinball. So, guys, make sure you go over to youtube.com, check out COOLTOY, and subscribe if you already haven't. He does a lot of great content. And Doug, where else? I mean, what else can they follow you on in the social spheres?
Twitter, COOLTOY_23, Instagram, COOLTOY_23, Facebook, Doug Smith. Like I said, a lot of people don't realize that Doug Smith is COOLTOY and COOLTOY is Doug Smith. But feel free to follow me on any of those.
You gave away your secret identity, man.
I know. I messed up there. Maybe I just need to put some glasses on. People won't realize.
That's it.
Well, it was great having you, and we'll look forward to you. When do you fly back?
I fly back Friday evening.
Okay. So you you probably won't make the show next week, so it'll be kind of Glenn and I probably wrapping it up. Not with that guy.
I'll let you know, because I think with the time change, I actually might be able to make it. So
okay,
it
cool.
may be all right.
So that would be great, and we'll get a nice follow up with that on CES. And Mr. Glenn Palomino, Planet Potato,
Planet Tomato.
I'm going to try to get. You know what? I have a harder time saying that than I actually do Planamento, your actual name. So I don't know how people do that, but whatever. YouTube.com/Glenn's Retro Show. Make sure you guys go check it out, subscribe, and head over to the brand new Facebook group that you guys can go to. The official Arcade1up fan page, Arcade1up Pinball fan page. I should just let you go through the AtGames fan page.
Oh, we have the official Arcade1up fan page. We have the official brand new Arcade1up virtual pinball fan page. We have the AtGames fan page. We have the Super Impulse Tiny Arcade fan page. We have the Replicate New Wave Toys fan page. We have the Basic Fun fan page. And of course, Glenn's Retro Show Game Gurus. I can leave that one out. So I have just a little presence on Facebook out there.
Well, either way, make sure you guys go check that out. He's working on some other things too, where you'll be able to follow him and find him. And
I do want to say something real quick. I almost forgot that we have finished the Tron joystick for the AtGames, and we're getting kits ready to be sent out to be sold. So expect maybe another couple weeks for that. And
cool.
Again, I know people have hit me a lot about the Star Wars yoke. We kind of took the Tron stick and moved that ahead. AtGames was really asking us to push that one out. So the Star Wars yoke, maybe another week or two before we'll make that announcement, but that is still coming. Don't worry.
Awesome. And guys, make sure you tune in, subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to our 3 channels, because Retro Buzz is coming at you every Friday, like we do it most of the time we do it at 6 p.m. unless one of us has something where we have to kind of push it off, like we had a few instances. But 6 p.m. Fridays Eastern time. It'll be here on YouTube, Facebook Live, and all the other great places, Twitch, that you can watch it, thetechbuzz.net/live, all that good stuff. Yeah, Twitch. I don't do, I don't know. I don't really go on Twitch much, but I figured it's gaming, so maybe people will tune in.
Right.
It's worth a shot.
Yeah, it's worth it. So we simulcast. So make sure you guys do that. I'm pretty much the Tech Buzz anywhere. You can go search me out, and we'll see you guys next week for the show. A great show. Till next time, well, keep it buzzing.